Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shoutouts, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre, buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Keith Andrew, and this is Season 5, Episode 414. I'm here with Genoveva Rossi, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me. You said my first name perfectly. It's actually Rossi, but you were pretty close to getting my name like 95% correct, so good for you. Better than most people, actually.
So it's Genoveva Rossi.
Exactly. Like Martini and Rossi. Like the wine company, exactly right. Yep. No, but you got the first name better than most people do, so good for you. Kudos. So thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. This is Genoveva Rossi. I'm an actress. I'm a tarot card palm reader. I also write and direct.
All right, well, we can always cover that basis in a few minutes. So I'm going to ask you the easy questions, then I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting ones. And the first one I was going to ask you is because you just caught my interest. My sister also does the tarot cards. And what about you? Are you like an expert or a pro? And how did your expertise of those come about?
That's a good question. I've been reading tarot cards since I was a kid in high school. I come from a family of psychics. My grandmother, my uncle, my mother, we all had premonitions. So that attracted me to the tarot cards. I would say I'm pretty knowledgeable of them. I do appearances where I read tarot cards all over the country. And I also sometimes speak and lecture at different conventions all over the place, too. So it's pretty interesting.
No, it's funny. Yeah. With that, we should have that in common. Now, my next question on the subject is: did cards come to you, or did you find them?
That's a good question. Honestly, I had always had premonitions. The first thing I was attracted to was palm reading, so I got really interested in palm reading, and then palm reading led to tarot card reading. And then I also got into bone reading, rune reading, tea leaf reading, coffee ground reading, and it all kind of took off from there. But it actually, believe it or not, started really with palm reading, and then tarot card reading, and then everything else. My cat wants to say hi.
That's a cute cat.
Isn't she cute? That's Tabitha. She's purring and rubbing herself against me because she's jealous.
It's funny. We have a similar cat. Is that a male or female?
That's a female. She's a calico cat.
My family adopted one recently. This past August, my cat Leela passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
His family was depressed, so they went out and got the cat. And her name is Patsy. I can still show you the picture after. Her name is Patsy. She looks exactly like yours, but the markings are in the opposite direction.
Well, believe it or not, my mom said calico cats are usually female and orange tabbies are usually male. Don't ask me why. I'm sure there's a scientific explanation, but my mom was telling me that. So it's like a fact. And this is the first time I've ever had a calico cat. She was like kind of like a rescue cat. Other cats I had like, you know, a tiger looking like tabby cat. I had a beautiful jet black cat when I was a child. She was beautiful, like a little Halloween cat, you know. She looked great next to a pumpkin, you know. But, you know, every time I get a cat, I always try to get one that looks completely different than the ones I've had before.
Right.
You know. You know, why not? Because there's so many different breeds. They're all adorable, you know.
It's true.
Can't go wrong.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. No, I'm saying you can't go wrong. They're all adorable. Every breed of cat. There's no ugly cats, really.
That's true. And you don't want to try to replace the ones that you had.
Exactly. So we always get like a completely new, completely different looking cat. We always seem to get female cats. I'm not sure why we always end up with girls. Like my mom, myself, always female cats. I'm not sure why. I'm not opposed to male cats. It just turned out that way. We were at the shelter and that's what they had, I guess. You know?
My next question is, are you a John Edwards fan? And do you think he's the real deal or do you think he's putting on a good show?
That's a good question. I like John Edwards, what I know of him, and I think I think there's some legitimacy to what he's doing. Sure, I think his heart's in the right place. Why not? Do I 100% believe in everything he's doing? I think I'm always skeptical of everyone and everything, and that's healthy. Even when I go to other readers, which I do sometimes to kind of just see what everybody else is up to, I'm always going a little skeptical, and I have no problem if people come to see me and they're a little skeptical too. Sometimes you got to see things to believe them, or you have to feel them to believe them, and there's nothing wrong with being a skeptical person when it comes to all these things. I just did ghost hunting recently with a friend, and we were very skeptical when we did it. We had a great time. It was fun, but there's nothing wrong with being a little skeptical. But I think he's done a lot for mediumship and bringing it to everyday people and making it become more commonplace. Giving people that exposure to it.
Okay, and the last question on that is, what is your opinion about Criss Angel?
Oh, Criss Angel, he's a very entertaining guy. He's an interesting guy. I don't have any negative feelings towards him. He seems like he's a great entertainer. He's an exciting, dynamic individual. I wish him the best.
But you would, if you had to compare the two, you would say John Edwards is the real deal compared to him.
It's hard for me to judge. I'd probably have to meet them and really maybe see what kind of vibe I got, in person maybe, It's so hard to tell when you watch people on television, because all that's so edited and produced, To see it live, I probably would have a different opinion, I think.
Now, my other question is, who influenced you to become a palm reader? And can you do palm readings anywhere? I know mostly it's in person, but can you do it online too, or you just have to see in person?
In person, we usually do that. I guess you could do it through pictures of people's palms that maybe they scan or send you, possibly. What inspired me? I think the episode of The Munsters where Lily Munster gets a job at a tea room doing palm reading. I love The Munsters. So I was like, oh, I love Lily Munster. And I always thought of the Munsters as being a real role models for family. You know what the message of the Munster was? And Herman, the actor that played Herman Munster, said this, is that, you have this family and they look like monsters, right?
Yeah. But
deep down inside, they're all these wonderful, good-hearted people. And the message of the Munsters is you can't judge people based on appearances.
Right. That's so. I'm trying to remember his quote, and he said, "It doesn't matter if you're white, black, or Asian. You can't judge a person. You have to judge them by the character of their heart and what they do." It's something like that along the lines.
And that's what the Munsters was kind of about, because they're the nicest people in the world, but you know what? They look like monsters, yeah. But yeah, I just remember Lily Munster, I think Hermie was having a hard time making ends meet, so she took it upon herself to get a job palm reading at some like tea room somewhere. And I remember watching that when I was like a little kid in reruns, and maybe that implanted that idea in my mind. It was one of my favorite shows. I have the lunchbox, and I also have a Wolfie stuffed animal, much like Eddie Munster's, stuffed animal from the show. So I was influenced by that show quite a bit.
Now, the last question about TV, then we can go to your acting career. As you say, you're a diehard Munster fan. Would you say you like them more than the Addams Family?
Wow, I would say I love the Addams Family and I love the Munsters, but I'm a little bit more Munsters. Maybe I just found them more relatable as a child, like that I was like Eddie Munster, and I have like this dragon that lives underneath my staircase and whatever. I don't know. I guess they just because to me the Munsters just seem kind of like Leave It to Beaver, except we're monsters, And I guess that just kind of appealed to me a little bit more. I like the Addams Family and Morticia and Gomez and their chemistry now. I think as an adult, that's a very romantic kind of marriage that they have. But as a little kid, I think the Munsters resonated because I really related to Eddie. Little Eddie Munster.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, my other question I was going to ask you is, when you started your acting career, who influenced you, and how many years have you been acting?
That's a good question. Well, I've been acting, I guess, since nursery school. I did a school play. I was like a ladybug. Did plays in grammar school, high school. Then in college, I started doing short films, and then I started doing features and horror movies and stuff. The greatest influence on my life as an actor would be Vincent Price. I love Vincent Price. I love every movie he's ever been in. He's fantastic. Even if it's a silly movie like Tingler or something like House on Haunted Hill or The Mask of the Red Death. I just saw him in a movie called Shock. Every movie he did, he was spectacular. He was a fantastic actor and a wonderful human being on so many levels, donating to charity, a wonderful father to his children, and just, a real stand-up guy. So I always think of him as being a real role model. And he did so many movies. He was in a couple hundred movies over the course of his career. He was working up until the end. And I think that's a really admirable career to have. He had a lot of fun making these movies. He was very successful, and he did it up until the last breath was in him, So go Vincent Price. So he's my greatest influence.
What were some of your favorite appearances? Have you ever appeared on TV, number one? And what were some of your favorite films that you ever done?
Okay. Well, television, I've had little featured parts in Orange is the New Black and Louis C.K. and Nurse Jackie and Gotham and things like that, but just little things. And then I've also ended up on Manhattan Public Access. I've been on the Peter Austin Noto show, I think 16 or so episodes. He's a comedic actor. He's been on Sopranos, Sex and the City, Kids in the Hall, Strangers with Candy. So that's pretty cool. I just actually shot with him on Friday. So he's an awesome dude. And then my favorite movies that I've been in, that's really hard to say, but I'm going to say what was the most challenging for me as an actor. I loved Apocalypse Kiss, where I play a pregnant woman. Love that movie. That was challenging for me. I loved Hunters, where I play kind of a murderer character and I get to explore my dark side. That was really, really cool. I loved being in a film called Not Another Bad Horror Flick. I play a witch, a gypsy witch, fortune teller kind of character. That was really, really cool. I just, so many films that I've been involved in were super exciting. I love being in Herschell Gordon Lewis's Bloodmania. It was Herschell Gordon Lewis's final film, and a tremendous honor to be in that. And then another film I'm really excited about, I had a cameo in his Death House, which was directed by the late Gunnar Hansen, which was Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I got to be in that with, Kane Hodder, Dee Wallace, Barbara Crampton, Michael Berryman, Sid Haig, more and more, Adrienne Barbeau, all these amazing, amazing people. So I'm just really honored to be involved in that too. And, it's been an amazing ride being in all these films with so many people I grew up admiring that I'm really, honored, by it. It's really humbling and amazing. And everybody that I've met has been as wonderful as I thought they were going to be, So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to the TV shows you mentioned, who were some of your favorite cast members that you met from Gotham?
Oh, that's a good question. We didn't spend a lot of time meeting and hanging out on set. Usually when you're on a professional set, everybody is super duper focused, you know? I'm going to say one of the people in something that I worked on, I was like a featured extra for, what was it, St. Vincent's with Bill Murray. And Bill Murray actually had really good rapport with everybody. I think he was throwing us Three Musketeer bars. He was talking to everybody. He was more personable than usual, you know, than most actors that you get, you know. Like, not many actors decide to bring a big bowl of Three Musketeers and throw them to everybody, you know, during the shoot. Just, you know, they take it upon themselves, and he was making jokes to all of us and stuff. So he was probably one of the most memorable actors I've worked with. When I was on Law and Order, I remember Ice-T was very friendly with everybody as well. So he stood out a lot. Those two probably the most, yeah. Super friendly. Nice guys.
What about your experience when you were on Law and Order? You know, you didn't mention you did hang out with Ice-T. You know, do you guys still keep in touch, or?
No, not really. I was at a convention with him called Blood and Babes a couple of years ago, and he was at that convention too. He was very busy, so we kind of touched base. I spoke to Sybil Danning quite a bit more, though. You know, remember Sybil Danning? She was the queen of B movies in the 1980s, and I still keep in touch with her a little bit on Facebook. She's really cool. And we get very involved with Domain of Horror website. We're both involved with that. So, you know, some people you kind of connect with and you keep in touch with. Some people not as much. Like, I see Kane Hodder a lot after we worked on Death House, and before we worked on Death House, we've done a lot of convention appearances together. My friend Robert Meeks from House of 1,000 Corpses, I see him around a lot. I see Sid Haig around a lot. I see Michael Berryman around a lot. You know, I see Lynn Lowry around a little bit too. You know, here and there. You know, it's interesting. You know, some people you connect with a lot, some people not as much. I guess it depends on how busy everybody is and how often you run into them. You know?
No, absolutely. And my last question, then we're going to take a commercial break, is same question about Gotham. Who were some of your most favorite people to work with on Orange is the New Black? And going back to Gotham too, who were some of those people that you just didn't want to deal with?
You know, everybody in Orange is the New Black and Gotham was wonderful and nice to deal with. I don't think anybody was difficult or anything like that. Everybody was super duper professional and focused, you know? So, you know, no complaints.
Hey, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you two more hard-hitting questions, and I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Okay, awesome.
Network, I'm here with Genoveva Rossi, and I just want to say thank you for sticking with us. What's the last 15 minutes left? I'm going to ask you two hard-hitting questions, and here is your faithful cat.
It's Tabitha Rossi. Okay. So.
Hey,
right.
Everyone, you can have fun. You know, it makes every interview different. So I'm going to ask you two hard-hitting questions. So I'm going to pass the show over to you. You can ask me anything you want. Gloves off. And the first question I was going to ask you is, my show is about disabilities. One, do you do work with the disabilities, people with disabilities? And two, have you worked as an actor with people who had or have disabilities?
Okay, so have I worked with people with disabilities? What was the first question again?
Oh, do you work with people, and have you worked with people?
Okay, have I worked with people with disabilities? That's a really good question, because, you know, when we say disabilities, there's so many different kinds of disabilities that people can have. Like, I've worked with people that maybe had their hearing compromised, you know, that didn't have full hearing. So that sometimes is a little bit of a challenge, you know. You got to speak a little louder. Maybe you have to enunciate better because they're going to be reading your lips, you know. There's a few actors that I know that have, a hearing that's compromised, and that happens, you know. Sometimes that even happens being an actor. Like, I read somewhere that John Wayne, from being in all those westerns, lost a lot of his hearing. You know, acting is a dangerous job. Let's see, what other disabilities? You know, I've worked with some photographers as a model. One photographer I worked with for years was in a wheelchair. So sometimes we had to make certain adjustments because of his, his height being what it was in the wheelchair, and kind of deal with his disability with that. But, I think any kind of disability, you just have to figure out how to work around it a little bit, and how to accommodate the person and just kind of figure it out. So I did a lot of photography with that particular photographer who has since unfortunately passed away. But he was in a wheelchair for many years, and we did a lot of photography work. And you would see his work, and you never would have guessed that he was a wheelchair-bound person, because he was really able to compensate and overcome it through his work. And it was a real escape for him. It was a beautiful thing for him to be able to be a photographer and to continue with his passion like that. And then I'm trying to think, as an actor, people with disabilities that I work with, I'm sure I've worked with some people that had like ADD and ADHD, and then sometimes that has some challenges in working with them. I think I've worked with some directors that have been maybe a little autistic as well, because sometimes, you could still be an extremely creative person and have different limitations or disabilities that you're working with. And maybe you could find a way to even use them to enhance the process creatively, Who knows? It might give you a different perspective. I'm trying to think what other kinds of people with disabilities, but probably mostly like hearing a bunch of people maybe in wheelchairs and things along those lines. I like that. Trying to think about any other people with disabilities, but nothing else is coming to mind. But those are the ones that I think that I've worked with. And I'm sure, there's probably a lot of actors, I'm sure, that have disabilities, because that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to limit you. Like, look at somebody like Boris Karloff as an actor. He was still working in a wheelchair in his last couple movies, Right. But he was such a good actor that they found roles for him. He was still able to do it, And there are a lot of actors probably that have disabilities of different types and that are able to compensate for them and overcome them, and or maybe even use them as an asset in certain roles, So.
No, I agree with you. And now my last question for you, now I'll pass the show over to you, is where do you stand on social media? Do you think social media can make you or break you? And as an actress, how's that affect your career?
Well, social media, I guess, is a blessing and a curse because they put you out there so that everybody feels kind of connected with you. But sometimes it could be a little overwhelming because I end up with a lot of people messaging me and asking me, questions, and they don't realize I might have 10 people on Facebook messaging me, 10 people on Instagram, and then maybe my grandma's calling or something. I have a lot of things going on in my life, and then work and everything. And then if I'm on a set and I'm memorizing dialogue and I'm shooting a scene, I can't get back to people. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming. I think, unfortunately, as time goes on, I'm going to have to spend less and less time interacting with horror fans and more time just kind of focusing on working on movies, because otherwise it just gets so overwhelming. You could end up with dozens of people all trying to contact you, and you just don't have the time, for that. And as you become more and more popular and you're doing more and more films, you just don't have the time for everybody, There's just not enough hours in a day. It's tough, And you feel bad about that because you want to be there for everybody and you want to be friendly and stuff. But then that's kind of what the convention appearances and the film festivals I go to are for, too. People can come and meet everybody in person, and see our movies and come over and meet everybody. So I guess that's what that exists for. Social media is, it's very important as an actor to put yourself out there, let everybody know what you're up to, interface with the fans and everything. But I guess, like I said, you have to kind of limit to a certain degree because you could spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with this if you wanted to. But at the same time, you have to find that balance. And social media is an aspect of your job as an actor. There's a lot of other aspects of your job, too, and you can't ignore them. Plus, there's your family, your friends, your cat, other things that you have to focus on, too. My cat has needs, and she needs me in her life. I'd be on social media all the time talking to everyone. Kitty, what about Tabitha Rossi? She needs me.
That's true. But
Yeah.
you can always just set a schedule. Have one day where you wake up, do a 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. And you can say, okay, first 4 hours I will be on Instagram, then Facebook, then Twitter, and then other days you can just have just for family. It's always good to have a schedule.
Well, that's a thought, but the unfortunate thing with being an actor is I can't really have a schedule because my schedule varies from week to week. Because like 1 week maybe I'm shooting on Friday, the next week I'm shooting Thursday and Friday, the next week I'm shooting Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
So I could do something like that, but my availability would probably always vary, depending on what's going on, and if I have an audition that I need to memorize dialogue for, or if I have a trip I need to go on, a convention I need to go to. It fluctuates so much. Every day is completely different. I'm always waking up at different times, going off and doing different things. Some days I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Some days I wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, Sometimes we do these 8, 12, 15-hour days as an actor. Sometimes I have like a 3-hour day, It's all completely different, and people message me and they don't realize that sometimes I'm on a really tight schedule. I have a lot going on. Maybe I don't even have enough time to get 8 hours sleep. Never mind, talk to everybody. Acting can, it flows and ebbs. Sometimes you have nothing to do for a little while. And then when you have a lot to do, it's like you have so much to do. It's like, oh my God, you're overwhelmed. It's feast or famine. So.
Now, my last question for you is, have you ever heard of a website called Celebrity VM?
Celebrity what?
Celebrity, try and guess my voice. Celebrity VM.
VM. No, I don't think I have.
Okay, so for an example, and I do have a couple questions for you off the air. I'm on there, so you can be like, for an example, hey Keith, I came across your profile. Can I have a shout out? Can I get a recommendation? Basically, what Celebrity VM is, you get to interact with the actors. You pay I charge $30, and for $30, I get to say whatever you want as long as it's professional. But I'm on there. Your secret cast from Breaking Bad. And I can show you word afterwards. It's a nice way to interact with your fans and earn money at the same time.
Oh, if you could, I would love it if you send me the link to that, and I'll check it out for sure. I never heard of it before. See? There you go. You taught me something new today. Thank you. But yeah, definitely send me the link on Facebook, and I will check it out for sure. I've never heard of this before, but I'm excited to hear more about it. Thank you for introducing me to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Now, what's the last 6 minutes left? I'm going to pass the show over to you. Was there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about?
Sure. I want to thank all the horror fans for coming out to see me in Birmingham, United Kingdom, Halloween weekend. I was in the United Kingdom. It was amazing. I got to hang out with Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and a whole bunch of other people. Everybody was fantastic, and I'm really thankful for that. Recently at the Fantastic Horror Film Festival, I won 4 awards. The film Attack of the Killer Chickens I wrote, directed, and starred in won Best Comedy, Best Short Film. I won Best Actress in a Short Film for it. My friend Pamela Martin won Best Supporting Actress in Attack of the Killer Chickens. And I won Best Supporting Actress in a Feature for Toxic Tutu, which is a really cool movie that's kind of a mockumentary of the Toxic Avenger. So that's really awesome. So I'm really thankful for that. I'm thankful to everybody that voted for me, and I'm thankful to the Fantastic Horror Film Festival. So I'm going to give a shout out to them. I'm also thankful to UK Horror Scene. I was writing for them for a number of years, my own column, A Life and Blood Tales of a Horror Queen. They just decided to discontinue the website, but I wrote for them for a couple of years, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. I still write for The Digital Dead, and that's UK-based publication as well. And I have an article right now in that about Eli Roth, Crypt TV, and the Tribeca Film Festival people can check out. And, people can check me out online. I have a website. I have an IMDb page. You can Google me, Genoveva Rossi. How do I spell that? You spell it this way, Genoveva Rossi, Rossi. So check me out online, everybody.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
sure.
Wrapping up, are you on social? I'll go back to social media. What would your top 5 subjects? Don't mind me. What would be your top 5 or websites you would recommend? Say, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm doing today.
Well, the websites, honestly, that have helped me the most, obviously Facebook has been huge. Instagram I just got into recently, and that's been pretty awesome. Twitter has been so helpful as well. And then, Gruesome Magazine has been really, really helpful. In their current issue right now, Gruesome Magazine. Thank you so much. UK Horror Scene that I said I wrote for, amazing. The Digital Dead, extremely helpful. I'm trying to think what other ones. I love Dread Central. I love Horror Hound magazine and website. They've been really, really helpful and kind. I've had a bunch of my films reviewed by them, and they've mentioned me in a bunch. They've been really helpful. There are so many amazing websites and people. Trying to think what else. So many, so many that I just almost can't name them all. Everybody's been like amazing. I'm trying to think. There's another one I want to mention, but now I can't even remember the name of it, and I feel so terrible. But there's all these wonderful websites that have been really so amazing in helping me with my career and kind of pushing me forward, and I'm really, really thankful for all of them. It's amazing that, the social media and everything else really does put you out there in so many amazing ways. It's fantastic, we're thankful to live in a time period where, we have access to this, and that you can kind of put yourself out there so easily, so readily. This is not something that we could do like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, where, I have people like from Japan, all over the world, checking me out on Instagram, checking me out on Twitter, when I post things about the movies I'm working on. So it's like I go to the UK, and there's people that have watched movies I've been in and are familiar with my work, and it's amazing. Thank God for the internet, and thank God for for the horror fans and all the supportive people that are out there.
No, absolutely. Now, my last question for you is, we're on the eve of Thanksgiving. Do you have any Thanksgiving plans, and are you all set for Black Friday?
What's the second question?
Oh, and I said, we're on the eve of Thanksgiving. Are you ready for that? Are you all set for the fun that is Black Friday?
Oh, yeah, I'm set for Black Friday. I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving with my family, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to probably go out in a little while, maybe do some last-minute shopping and stuff. Everything, is really good. I have a lot to be thankful for. Family, friends, horror fans. Just shot a film last week called The Betrayer with Adam Albright. I'm thankful for that. Thankful to just work with last week with Peter Austin Noto on a comedy improv project. Thankful to be in Birmingham, United Kingdom for Halloween. Thanksgiving should be a time when we really think about everything we have to be thankful for in our lives, and I think everybody has those things, And Black Friday and Christmas shopping, I don't know, I might do it online. I don't know if I want to, put myself through everything. Oh, there's another website I want to give a shout out to, Idol Features. They've done a whole bunch of articles on me in the last couple years, and Idol Features, thank you guys, So.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. While wrapping up our interview segment, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction when you got the message, and what made you say yes?
Well, why not? I usually do most interviews, if I can, that people ask me to do, because why not? People are helping me to promote myself, and we're helping each other. I'm helping you with your show. You're helping me promote myself in my career. Why would I say no, right? The only time I would say no is if it just doesn't fit into my schedule, or I'm just like so inundated with other things, That happens. Sometimes it's just so hard to fit things into your schedule. Maybe you're going through a very busy period or something like that,
No, absolutely. Hey, you're supporting a good cause and making a new friend out of it at the same time.
Exactly. One hand washes the other. Right?
So, wrapping up our interview segment, stay tuned for Off the Air. By wrapping up our segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was wonderful.